Hey everybody, we're gonna get started right into it. I'm doing a full body workout, which just means upper body, lower body. We're doing a little bit of everything, doing some muscle building. So if you would like to join me, then grab your weights, do what I do. Or if you just have questions, let me know in the chat. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get started with a warm up. So, I'm a little more tired today, but we'll see how things go. I tend to push myself a little bit too hard when I'm tired. So I'm gonna try and keep it to 13 reps today, because sometimes it's hard for me to calibrate and know how hard I'm pushing my body when I'm tired. So this is something really good about consistency in number of reps, is that you have a measure of how far you should go. See, when because in both directions really, you don't want to do too little, but you also don't want to do too much. So right now what I'm doing is doing a lighter weight to warm up, get blood flow into the muscle. I'm trying to do deep bench all the way through the full range of motion, getting that muscle engaged on a lighter weight. So this isn't too challenging, shouldn't be too challenging. It's just getting some blood flowing into the joints, into the muscles, getting things warmed up and primed to start working. So I'm doing what's called a superset, where work two muscles in pairs. So I'm doing pushing muscles with the bench press, and then pulling muscles with the chin up. So you could do pull-ups, you could do chin-ups, both are fine. I like to do the chin-ups because they give a little bit more bicep work. I'd like to build up my arms a little bit. So with this, I'm reaching as high as I can on the band for my warm-up and pulling down. It's a little less resistance than if I was to do assisted chin-ups. Just getting blood flow into that muscle. Before I could do a pull-up, I do a lot of banded rows or banded pulls like this. And eventually, now I'm doing assisted pull-ups. Eventually I want to get to where I'm doing a set of unassisted pull-ups. Right now I can do a couple, but I'd like to be able to do at least 5 before I switch over to unassisted. Probably more like 6 or 7 though. I find, because especially in my later sets, I tend to do fewer reps. And if I go from 5 to 4 to 3, it's not quite as many as I want to do in a set. So I'm looking for more of that hypertrophy, that muscle mass building. And so I'd like to do a few more reps than that. All right, so I just finished that warm up. Now, I'm gonna go to my actual working weight, which is about 40 pounds a hand. I like in the bench press, you rest the dumbbells on your knees, and then when you're ready to go, you kick your knees up to get them in position. So I want them right over the top of my shoulder, and then from here I'm gonna bring the inside of the dumbbell right to my chest. So it should be touching the outside of my chest. And then back up. Trying to not lock out your arms as you come back. 2, you keeping that tension on the muscle. 3, most important thing is to go all the way down. 4, at least for muscle building. 5, going for about 13, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm trying to not bounce out of the bottom. 10, where you can sort of come here, pause for a moment. 11, 12, and that reduces the chance of injury. And 13. Oh, that was really burning. That's good though. So if you feel like you're working out and that you feel the muscle burning, that can actually be acid, what's called lactic acid, building up in the muscle as we fatigue. So that burning feeling is probably that. And so as that's one of the reasons you start breathing heavy, because your body needs oxygen to convert that lactic acid out of your muscle. So, and you're breathing out carbon dioxide, breathing in oxygen, breathing out carbon dioxide to buffer that. All right, going to assisted pull-up. Aiming for about 9 of these. So some people asked about this one, why I don't do the my foot in this. And the reason for that is I just found it more comfortable to put my knee into the middle of the band. You can put your foot in the middle of that loop, sort of like this, but I just find it's not as comfortable for me. But this definitely was a way to do it like this. So you're pulling up with the foot instead. Especially getting out of this is a little bit less comfortable for me. So I tend to do the knee into the middle of the band and pulling up like this. 1. Trying to keep my elbows tucked in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Wow. Oh man, my lats are burning after that. I think today I might only be doing 3 sets. Normally shoot for between 3 sets and 5 sets. And I can tell my body is quite a bit more fatigued. I think I haven't been sleeping as well, so my recovery is not quite there. Oh, do you guys have noticed that when you're working out, where if you haven't slept quite as well the night before, it's a lot harder? I find for me, being low calorie, like from a calorie deficit like I am now, where I'm trying to reduce weight, is not as hard as being low sleep. That's where I really feel like it's hard to push weight. I feel neurologically tired, where my nerves feel tired. So we'll see what happens this week. I might have to call it a little bit early. I tend to push myself a little bit too hard, where I get this idea in my head about a number I want to hit, and that sets me back more, because what tends to happen is I push too hard, not keeping it to that range of what I should be doing. Or I'm like, oh, I need to hit 5 this week. It's like, no, you've already got your allotted sets in, and then I can injure myself, and then it sets me back further. So for me, consistency looks like only going as far as I need to create some growth, and then not pushing up into that injury range. So I think for me, I'm going to be focusing in on 3 sets today. We'll see how it feels at the end. All right. Consistency is hugely important in your workouts in both directions. So you want to be consistent in doing the workout, but also consistent in not overdoing the workout. All right. So I'm pushing my chest out, so I get that expansion in my chest, that stretch feeling, going down to my chest, all the way down to the side of the chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, counting out loud to make sure I don't overdo it here. 7, 8, I'm locking out a little bit too much. 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. I like the bench press or the dumbbell bench because it works the chest muscle and the arms. The compound movement where it's working 2 sets of muscles at the same time. So you're getting, instead of just an isolation just for the tricep, you're doing something like a push down or a dip. I suppose dips are a compound as well, but I find that I'm able to get my chest better by using those dumbbells. Whew. Okay. Now going to assisted pull-ups. I'm gonna take a second actually and grab a drink of water, catch my breath. My heart is definitely going a little faster than usual. So my goal here is to help people get into resistance training, start building muscle. Whether you're 20 or you're 80, we can all benefit from building up that muscle mass. So usually, statistically, people above the age of 35, you lose 1% of your muscle on average a year. So you're in steady decline. After that peak, you go downhill after that. So, but if you actually work and do resistance training, you can arrest that. You can stop that from declining nearly as quickly. So, or maybe in some cases even gain muscle after that. But it's all about being consistent and working at it. And the more you work out before you're 35, the better too, because you can build up that peak of muscle where you have more to hang on to. And so even if you lose some, you still have a lot of muscle left. So I'm here to encourage you guys to get into a workout routine of some kind. It can be at the gym, it can be at your home, but do something to maintain that so that you can live a happy, healthy life. It's important to just start. So anything I can do to help with that, let me know. All right, going to 54 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to come all the way back down so it really opens up that muscle. 6, where you build that muscle size. 7, 8, last one, 9. Now on these, you can't get your chin all the way up to the bar. That's okay. You can do what's called a lengthened partial, where if you can't get all the way up, if you go all the way down still, can you move this out of my face? So if you go up as high as you can and then lengthen down, that still works. Still lengthening that muscle, which is the important part of that exercise. So even if you can't do a full pull-up, go up as high as you can and then slowly drop it back down to fully extended. so fully straight. The more you can do that, the more you can build that strength. Even if you don't have a band like this, that's one way you can do an assist without even having a band. All right, so that was set number 2. Whew. So give me a minute. Heart's going pretty high today. So right now I'm at 140. I think I'm definitely feeling more tired. So I'm taking a little more time between sets to let my heart rate come back down, because I want the muscle to be the limiting factor, not my heart rate. So it's okay to take a break between sets. You don't have to keep just pushing, because you can actually work the muscle then and not be limited by your cardiovascular system. Especially on these large compound movements like squats, deadlift, bench press, pull-ups. They're using large muscles, so they're a high demand on your heart to supply blood flow to those muscles. Oh man. I'm gonna move the bench just a little bit. Let's see if that works better. Yeah. All right. So if you have any questions, let me know in chat. I'm gonna try for set number 3. I like to do at least 3 sets of exercises where I repeat the same exercise 3 times, because you get more benefit from doing multiple sets. And if I can get 3 one day of the week and 5 another day of the week, when I'm feeling better, that gets me to that 8 per week at minimum. I want to go at least 8, trying for 10 if I can, sets per week of an exercise. All right, so going back to dumbbell bench press. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Let's see if I can get 13. Oh my gosh. You probably saw that I was slowing down as I went. That is totally normal to happen as you get tired. As you push, and you're pushing up towards that fatigue point, that failure point, that's really normal that the reps will start slowing down. So doing what you can, even if you have to go slowly back up, pushing that weight, trying to get back up if you can, and hitting, because that means you're hitting into what's called muscle failure, where you're actually building that muscle up. You're challenging it, you're making it grow. So if you're red in the face, if you're feeling that like it's slow and kind of shaky, that's great. It means you're working hard, it means you're making progress. So don't compare yourself to anyone else in the gym. Doesn't matter what the weight on the bar is or the weight in the dumbbell. If it's challenging to you, that's the important thing. So a lot of people, I've seen this time and time again, where people go to a machine that they've never used before. They put the weight all the way down to the bottom of the stack, try and push it, can't really control it, do 1, and then it slams back down. And that's not really building them muscle. that's just, I mean, they're challenging, but so much of a challenge that it's not actually working well for them, where they can't do a repeated exercise of building up that muscle failure. So I'd encourage you to find a weight that works for you, where you can do several reps and keep it controlled, but still get tired by the end. And that's really what's going to get you the growth. Doesn't matter what the weight on the bar is. All right. Like this one for me, I found this purple band gives me enough resistance where I can get up to between 5 and 10 reps, but it's not so much where I am not able to even do 5. 1, 2. So I'm able, these first few shouldn't be that hard, but when you get to about 5, 4, 5, you can see I'm starting to slow down because that muscle failure. 6, that muscle is starting to fatigue. 7, 2 more. 8, and 9. Oh. So if you think about it, it's instead of having to do 20, 30 reps or doing 200 pounds on the bar, if you can get the same feeling from doing 100 pounds on the bar with good control and feeling that fatigue in that muscle, then that's better. You're doing the same work on the muscle without having to risk putting a lot of weight on the bar. So it's lower risk of injury, less wear and tear on your joints. It's finding that weight that works well for you though. All right, that was set number 3. So I'm trying for, I hit my goal of 3 sets. I'm gonna try, I think, for another set. We'll see how that goes. Whew. If I look a little bit red or if I'm breathing a little heavy, that's totally normal. If you feel like you're uncomfortable in the gym sweating, I would really encourage you to not care about what other people think. It means you're working hard. It means you're accomplishing something. So if you're sweating, that's a good sign. That means your body's healthy. There's actually people that have to train their body to be able to sweat. As funny as that sounds, because or some people who are born with something, with their sweat glands affected. I knew a guy that couldn't work out very hard because he was born with non-functional sweat glands. So it was very hard for him to work out without overheating. So if you're sweating at the gym or at your home workout, know that's normal. You're doing something right. Your body's working properly. It's protecting itself from that heat. Okay. I'm gonna give it a second for my heart to come back down. Then we'll get back into bench press. If you guys have any questions for me or comments, you see something that I'm doing and want to talk about it, I'm here for that. Always like to chat. I'm just gonna take a moment. Right now, heart's still going pretty quickly because it's warm in here. I'm under the lights, so. I am gonna try though for doing, just monitoring my heart rate. I'm gonna try for doing 4 sets. If you can carve out about an hour of time twice a week for your workouts, that's awesome. That's what I'd recommend if you can, because that will get you enough time to be able to do enough sets of the muscle or enough sets of an exercise to be able to start seeing that growth. I used to do just 1 set and I saw very small growth doing that. When I switched to multiple sets, where I'm doing the same exercise a couple times every day, or not every day, but every time I work out, that's where I started to see more growth in that muscle size. So as you go, you might have to drop the number of reps down between sets. That just means how many times you can lift up the muscle, or lift up the weight and set it back down. So that's okay, because as you fatigue, as that muscle gets, the energy in that muscle gets used up, the sugars in the muscle, it makes it harder and harder to push that weight. So I'm gonna try for 13. If I only get to 10, that's okay. I'm just going to where I feel that muscle fatigue set in. So I'm bending my elbows, dropping this to the outside of my chest, and then back up, trying to keep tension on the muscle the whole time. So I'm working that chest, that pectoral muscle across my chest, and the tricep in the back of my arm. 4. I think I'm only gonna get to 10 on this one. 5, you can probably see I'm already shaking a little bit. 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm stopping at 9. All right. So I've had some people get upset with themselves on their, second and third set, where the first set they do a larger number, and then the second set the smaller number because they get tired faster, and they beat themselves up over that. And I just want to encourage you, don't beat yourself up. That's great. That means that you got to that same muscle fatigue point, and that's what we really care about. It doesn't matter what the number is. What matters is, what are you feeling in the muscle? You saw that I hit a point where I literally couldn't push any faster up. There's just nothing left in the muscle. So that is okay. If that's where you get to, that's awesome. That means you've done everything you can, and you don't have to try and push past that. That's where you push into that injury range. So for me, I'm gonna stop at 4 sets, because if you saw, I only got to 9 that time, and that 9th was real challenging to get back up. I know if I try for an additional set for 5 sets, that it falls off so rapidly, I'm not gonna be able to get to where I want to in the number of reps. So I'm gonna stop at 4 on this one. So I'm gonna finish out with some assisted chin-ups, because I just did pushing. Now I'm gonna do pulling to balance it out. Muscles always work in pairs. So you've got one muscle over here and one muscle over here. Imagine it like a scale or a teeter-totter. So as this muscle works, this muscle relaxes, and then vice versa. So the chest muscle, that pushing muscle, and then pulling muscles are the two sides of that, so you want to balance those out. You work one side one day, you can either work the other side the same day or another day that week, but you want to have both to keep that, both your physique balanced and your joints balanced, just so it's not pulling more on one side than the other. You want to work both sides. So anytime you do pushing, you also want to do some pulling that week as well. Some pulling exercises. Examples of that are chin-ups, pull-ups, standing rows, bent rows, anything like that. Oh man, I'm already feeling this one being in this position. Let's see how many I can get to. I'm aiming for 9, but if I get 6, I'll be happy. 2. Trying to fully extend. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go for 7. 7. Oh, okay. That is as far as I go on that one. Oh, I I can feel that all through my forearms as well, holding on to that grip. Something I don't have here is Versa grips, which are these sort of like gloves that you wear to help your grip. Has anyone in chat ever used those before? I've seen them, but I've never actually tried them before. I wonder how well they work. As it seems like, for me, by the end, that's an arm or a forearm workout too. Just gripping that bar. Even right now, trying to close my hand, this feels really sore. Oh man, so I gotta give myself some time before I do. We're gonna do lunges, or not lunges, I'm sorry, squats and deadlift, stiff-legged deadlift next, because we just did upper body, now I wanna do some lower body. So if you're joining, if you're here just to chat, or if you're working out with me, welcome. Love to talk, love to have you guys here. So if you see something you like, I hope you can incorporate it into your workout to build that muscle, to work on maintaining that muscle strength you have and building that muscle strength. So if you look at me and saying, John, I could do that. I'm not perfect. And I hope, but it's important to start even if you're not perfect. So I'm here just doing the best I can, because I want to inspire other people to just get into their workout routine, start, even if they feel like they're not where they want to be, even if they feel like they're not perfect. I'm not perfect, that it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to just start. And you might feel like you look a little bit silly. I would really encourage you to start anyway, because it only makes it harder the longer you wait. So start now, you'll get progress, you'll feel the difference. And so I really encourage you guys to start now. Whew. All right, so I'm just gonna warm up my legs a little bit, doing squats. Take this down. So I like to do lower body after upper body, just personally, and sometimes I do stretching at the end. So for squats, I'm going to do some body weight first and then go into using the dumbbells for added weight. So for just body weight squats, I have feet about shoulder width apart, a little wider than shoulder width, whatever feels comfortable to you, and the toes slightly angled outward. Then from here, I'm going to bend down, keeping my back straight as I can. So I'm pushing my hips back and bending my knees. You can see in the mirror how the back stays flat. If you want to, you can put your hands on your low back. Give yourself a tactile feeling so you can know that your back stays straight. Oh, all right. Whew, man. Might be overheating just a little bit, excuse me. Heart's beating pretty fast. Thinking about what I need to do for this, because I know my heart rate is going to really climb as soon as I start doing squats, which is not a terrible thing, but it does make it harder to go from one exercise to the other. I still have 3 sets left to go. Oh, all right. So I rest the dumbbells right on my shoulders, get my feet in the right position. So feet about shoulder width apart or a little wider, toes angled out slightly, bending the knees, going down, and then back up, keeping the knees in line with the toes. Working the muscles in the quads, the glutes, and the hamstrings. Sure, the thigh muscles and the butt muscles. 9. And last one. 10. Oh. All right. Now, gonna do a stiff-legged deadlift. These are great for the glutes and the hamstrings. So I rest the weights against my thigh, and I'm going to, keeping my knees and my back straight, bring the weights down to the ground. Trying to push my hips out to the back, so I keep that back flat. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is great if you have tight hamstrings, because you're stretching them. 6, and strengthening them. 7, 8, 9 at the same time. 10. All right. If you're ever trying to get your hamstring strengthened, but you don't have weights, you can even do that without weights. Reaching down towards your toes and back up, working on that hamstring strength and flexibility at the same time. So even if you don't have dumbbells, you can definitely just do that with just body weight. Or even holding a water bottle in each hand. Just give yourself that little bit of resistance. Oh man. I wonder who named the deadlift. I don't know the history of it, but it is a very fatiguing exercise. Does anyone know where that the deadlift name came from? Like, it just sounds like a harsh exercise. Like, oh, we're gonna do deadlift. Like, you're gonna be dead after doing this lift. It's a really important exercise, I think, because it strengthens those hamstrings in a lengthened position. And I feel like a lot of times people use their lower back to move like that. So it's strengthening your hamstrings and your glutes to be able to protect your low back and move into that position without it compromising the joints in your back where it's putting pressure on the nerves. Find people who have low back pain who start doing these sorts of exercises can actually notice a difference in their low back pain where it goes away. I've had clients that have had low back pain that after they start working out, their back pain went away because they were properly utilizing the muscles in their legs and hips. So just finished set 1 of legs. I'm doing squats and deadlift, or it's stiff-legged deadlift. It's where I don't bend my knees, I just push my hips out to the back, doing a deadlift. trying for 3 sets today. We might get to 2, and we'll have to see how it goes. Like I said at the beginning, I'm definitely more fatigued today, which I know for me, lack of sleep is the #1 killer of my workouts. More than lack of food, more than stress during the week. If I haven't slept well, I know that it's that much harder to do multiple sets, do the correct number of reps and weight. It definitely has an impact. So, now, waiting a couple minutes between sets, totally fine. It's normal. And so what I would do when you're picking exercises is pick 4 or 5 exercises to do on any given hour in the gym. Take an hour, 4 or 5 exercises, try and get all your sets done in that time. That gives you enough time to rest between sets. But I'll try and keep on going here. Was waiting for my heart rate to drop back down a little bit. So I want the muscle to be the thing fatigued, not the heart rate. So feet about shoulder width or a little wider, toes angled out. Let me show you. Let's switch to this view for this one, just so you can see where my feet are. So I'm bringing my feet a little wider than shoulder width, toes pointed out a little bit, and knees going in line with the toes. So bending down, keeping my back flat. 3, ooh. 4, going as low as I can. 5, 6, going for 10 of these. 7, 8, 9, last one, and 10. Whew. All right, bring these down to my thighs. Going into stiff-legged deadlift next. So I'm hinging at the hips, pushing my hips out to the back, trying to keep my back straight, and back up. 2, 3, you can see how my back stays straight. I'm really pushing my hips out to the back to protect that spine. Only go down as far as you're able to, keeping that good form. One more. And relax. For me, I feel my left hamstring is tighter, so I can only go down so far before my left hamstring is limiting me. So that's normal. You can only go as far as your weakest side. But that also means that side is strengthening up, getting stronger. So that was set number 2. I'm gonna try for a 3rd set. If you guys are working out with me, it's awesome. I'm glad you're here. Whew. If you're breathing heavy too, that's also normal. It means you're doing something right. You're working hard. So good work. As you get stronger, your heart will recover faster. So it'll be easier to go back into the next set the more you do this. But if you're breathing hard, you're always going to want to be pushing yourself a little bit. So you're pushing that weight, making the reps a little more. or a little bit heavier weights or something, because you always want to be challenging your body. And that's totally normal. That's what's called progressive overload in exercise science, where you're pushing your body a little bit outside of its comfort zone to cause it to grow. So it should always be a little bit challenging. Otherwise, it's just wasted time in the gym, and that's not good for anybody. Why would we want to spend time like that in the gym? So you want to get in, work hard, and then be done. So if you're breathing heavy, if you're sweating, you're doing good. If you feel tired in your muscles, you're doing well. So that's awesome. That means you're doing something right. Not, oh, I'm so weak, I'm sore, I'm tired. That's, hey, I worked so hard. I feel sore, I feel tired. And that's good. That means you invested, you got your body stronger than it was. Whew. So today I think we'll have a little bit of time for stretching at the end. So if you guys have any muscles that feel tight, like your low back, your quads, your hamstrings, your calf, maybe you feel tightness across your chest or your neck back here, let me know in the chat and we'll make sure to cover those in our stretching at the end. So we'll spend a little bit of time when we're all warmed up to stretch. So going into set number 3, doing squats, putting the dumbbells up by my shoulders, and feet about shoulder width apart or a little wider, toes angled out, bending as low as I can down to the ground. Remember, keeping that back straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. It's okay for your chest to come a little forward as long as you keep that back straight. I'm gonna take a quick second before going into deadlifts, because I feel a little bit dizzy. So I'm gonna breathe just a little bit and then go on to deadlift. That'll be our last exercise, and then we'll do some stretching. I like to do stretching at the end of a workout because I can gain some flexibility, everything's all warmed up, and then it's not getting in the way of my workout. Because if you stretch before a workout, it can actually make it harder to build strength and to actually use your muscles. Man. The third set just took a lot out of me. All right, last one. Okay. It's always the hardest one is the last exercise of any set. So doing stiff-legged deadlift, I'm pushing my hips to the back and then letting my arms hang down my legs. Keeping my back straight as I can. Pushing the hips backwards to really extend, to lengthen those hamstrings. This is a good hamstring stretch as well as hamstring strengthening. Three more. Last one. And, okay. All right. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of stretching. Start with the muscles in the thigh. Everything should be all warmed up. So this is going to be stretching for the inside of the thigh, these adductor muscles. So you're gonna put one knee on the ground, then you're gonna sit back onto your heel. You're gonna stretch on the inner part of your thigh. Now, if you want to increase the stretch, you can bring your chest down towards the ground, feeling that stretch on the inner part of your thigh. You can either have your foot like this or just laying on the side of your foot. So holding that stretch, you should feel that in here. Just ending with some stretching for the muscles that we worked. So we just built up the muscle strength, and that will give you some flexibility. But if you want extra flexibility on top of it, adding that stretching at the end when everything is all warmed up can really help build that flexibility of the muscle with that strength. And same thing on the other side, kneeling down, leg out to the side, bring your hips back towards your heel and your chest down towards the ground. I like doing stretching at the end. When everything's all warm, it's easier to build that flexibility for me. Do you guys have any places in particular that you feel that your hips are tight or a particular muscle is tight? I find my legs really tighten more than anything else for me. So these muscles at the hip. Now we're gonna do what's called a runner stretch. So you're gonna to stretch this back leg by bending the knee, bring your hips forward, keeping your back knee right where it is. You should feel a stretch right here across the front of the hip. We're just holding a steady stretch on it. I hold these stretches at least 20 seconds. You can hold up to 30 or 40 if you'd like. Find if you hold it too long though, it can actually start to feel a little bit weird and shaky getting back up. Same thing on the other side, doing a runner stretch, stretching the back hip. Ending with stretching to build up that flexibility along with the strength of the muscle. So as everything's all warmed up, it's easier to gain flexibility in those same muscles we've strengthened. And one more. You're gonna bring your front leg straight and then your chest out towards the front, feeling a stretch in your hamstrings. Now, if you felt tight during the deadlift, this is a great stretch to do to increase that flexibility of the hamstrings. So as you get more flexible hamstrings, you'll be able to go down further, get more range of motion, more muscle lengthening in that deadlift on both sides. Especially if one side feels tighter than the other. That's why it's good to stretch one leg at a time so you can build flexibility in both legs. So a lot of people neglect their flexibility, unfortunately, and you really want both. You want to be able to be flexible and strong. That's why I include this as part of it, because flexibility actually affects the muscle's strength. If there's so much tension in the muscle, it will actually trigger a sensor in your muscle to tell the muscle to stop working. It's too much. There's a sensor called the GTO, or the Golgi tendon organ, that senses tension in the tendon, and if it's too high, it will tell the muscle to relax to protect itself. So as we get more flexible, whether that's through stretching or through strength training, Like I said, strength training can increase your flexibility, but static stretching is more specialized to that. So as you increase your flexibility, you make that tolerance level for that tension higher in the muscle. So, if you're just joining, welcome. Glad you guys were here. Try and host these live streams. Been starting to do them on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you want to join me for the workouts I'm doing, to have an accountability partner, just want to hang out, or looking for ideas for your own workouts, then I'd love to see you guys there. Host these at sometime between 11 and 12 a.m. Pacific time. So hope to see you guys there, and have a great day.